Hey guys, and welcome to the Property Strategy Podcast. Today I'm sitting down with Corinne Turley of Turley Property Advocates. Thanks so much for coming in the studio.
Thanks for having me, Joey.
Now I'm in your home ground today, and we're only just chatting about whenever I seem to come to Melbourne, it's always this weather, the drizzly 18 degrees.
Yes.
But I was just chatting with the producer beforehand. He was saying that the weather last week was absolutely fabulous.
It was stunning. Yeah.
And then as soon as I get here, I mean, what can you do? So talk to us about the business, how that kind of began. Was it an organic kind of birth of Turley? And give us a little bit of backstory in terms of the infancy of the business through to where we are today.
Yeah, sure. For me, gosh, I've been in property a long time. I started as a real estate agent when I was about 22.
In sales?
In sales, which is more than half my life.
Say that. It was only 3 years ago.
Yeah. And I just love it. And for me, I can actually remember the moment where I was interested in real estate. It was my dad. He probably doesn't know this story, actually. He was selling his house. And I remember it was a house in Glen Waverley, which he doesn't own and he should have kept. And it was in the school zone. It'll be worth a lot more now. I forget that you're not from Melbourne. So this is a good area where, you know, the growth has been really good from the school. And I remember the real estate agents coming in and they were so dodgy. Like they were really spinning him crap. And even I could pick up on that.
How old do you reckon you would have been?
I was like 21 or something.
Yeah.
And they're just saying, look, you should sell it now and then rent. And it didn't add up for me. And I thought, well, hey, it's his decision. And then I met a friend who just got into real estate. And I'm like, oh, I really like the sound of this. And he kept saying, real estate is not about houses, it's about people.
Yeah.
Which is so true.
Absolutely.
So the rest is kind of history. Like I was in sales for quite a long time, 19 years.
Wow. I'm fascinated. But why the shift?
I got to a point, I think when you're in the industry for so long, especially sales, you are in one area or the surrounding suburbs.
Yeah, okay.
And I would meet so many people and go, oh, I need to buy here. What's this market like? Or I need to sell here. And I'm like, I don't know. You know, I just know my
These three streets, this is
you
my
know, I
pocket.
worked in Elwood for most of that period.
Yeah.
I obviously know Elwood, St Kilda, all of those areas in Bayside quite well. And I got to the point where both my kids just started school. And I think I actually had a bit of a dream. And like, I want to help people buy. You know, I just kept seeing.
Did you used to help like buyers when you were a selling agent?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you give them a bit of like free assistance, right?
Well, yeah, because that is the balance of a real estate agent.
Yeah.
You're working for the vendor, but you've got to earn the trust and have the relationship with the buyers, right?
Yeah.
So they trust you and then they pay top dollar.
Yep.
And it's a real balancing act, and buyers agents weren't really around then.
No.
So you're kind of holding both hands, and obviously you want to get paid and you got to get the deal done.
Yeah.
There was no digital contracts. I stood my husband up on so many dates when we were dating, driving around getting contracts signed at 10:30 at night.
Yeah, just
you
get the
just
deal
had
over
to
the
get
line.
it. No one can sleep on it. You got to get it signed. You got to get it done.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just, I don't know. I caught up with someone recently who she was a buyer of a property years ago in Elsternwick. And she goes, Corinne, it makes sense now that you're a buyer's agent.
You used to help so much.
Even then, she goes, you were standing with me at the auction. You were helping me and you weren't really with the vendor. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't really see it then, but it's a natural thing for me. And I have this thing where I love helping people, and I've seen so many mistakes over the years. Like I would see properties, you know, we were just talking about apartments, but apartments in Elwood, they haven't gone up in value in a very, very long time. And people would go, why have I not made any money? Or they've bought something off the plan. And I'm like, because you bought off the plan. You know, they're making a loss. And I've got people I know right now going, Corinne, what do I do? So I'm like, well, let's assess. What have you got? Get rid of that. Let's buy you a better asset. So for me, it's just being on the other side of working with people to buy better, create the wealth, and then, you know, I don't know. It's just a natural thing.
Yeah, but what experience you bring to the party in like that very few BAs out there could say, I worked 2 decades on the other side. So I know exactly all of the tactics.
Yes.
I know exactly what I would be doing as a sales agent because I did that, not for 15 minutes, but for 19 years, you said.
Yes.
And then you can obviously apply that to then try and obviously navigate the way through and help your client as the buyer kind of get the best outcome.
Yeah. I always say it's it's so easy to sit back and go, look at social media and, this is how you should do it and this is how many you should buy and this is the strategy. That's all well and good, but you actually need someone to go do this for you.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
You
Implement
need someone with the intel. You need to know what to buy. You need to know how to buy it. And you need to know that it's at the right price and have the right strategy. So it's really complex. There's a lot involved.
And you're right,
Yeah.
because that all works in absolute unison together, right? Like you can have
Yeah.
one of them, but if you're missing one of those kind of 3 or 4 pillars that you mentioned, everything could just fall apart.
Yeah.
Let's go and unpack the very first property that you ever bought. What was it? Where was it?
Yes.
How much did you spend? Do you own it? What's it worth today?
Yep. I remember having to schedule it in. Obviously, being a sales agent, running around on Saturdays in my suit. It was in between open for inspections and
One of your listings?
Yeah, all my listings.
No, was it one of your listings?
Oh, no, I can't do that. No.
I've heard worse.
Oh, probably. No, I'm not like that. And my husband he's always really good. He goes, Corinne, you're the expert in property. You just, you just do that.
You do it.
So I said, all right, I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there at the auction.
Who found it? You?
I did. Yeah, of course. Of course.
And just have a look at this. Bring it up on the
Yeah. We had a builder friend back then. We didn't get build and pest inspections. We just had a
bring
builder friend.
Eyeball
and
this for us, please.
Give you a slab or something.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
check it
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so was the intention to, was that a principal place of residence
Yes.
purchase? Okay.
Yes. So
How long did you look for?
Not long.
Okay.
The market was starting to move. So it was 2000. Do you know I measure everything from the year I got married to the year I had my first child? It was 2013.
Okay.
And I remember the market at the time was down, but it was just starting to move.
And you would have the
I knew.
insights. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So you're now is the time.
Yes. I remember speaking to my broker and we were planning a trip to America and we had a lot going on. We just got married and
No kids yet.
no kids
Okay.
yet. And we're like, we need to get in. We need to get in now.
Yeah.
So we did. I didn't look much, to be honest. I knew what I wanted. We originally wanted a different area because we were renting at that time in Bentley.
Yep.
Everything in our price bracket was so bad.
Yeah, okay.
Like there were holes in the floor.
Yeah.
It was really rough. So we pivoted to Cheltenham. So I did a lot of research, obviously already knew the area, and we got a really good house. So we still own it today,
beautiful.
but the house is not there. We knocked it over.
Okay.
So the house was great. Like it was built 1969, blonde brick.
No, nice. Habitable.
We lived in it and I rented it and I'm pretty hands-on. Like I did a bit of a reno. We lived in it for forever until COVID.
Oh, wow. So you had a really long stint in there.
And
Great.
do you know what we
kids
did?
were raised there.
Yep, kids were raised there. I was saying to someone the other day, it was such a good purchase. Like all we did was one hot water service. Like nothing
whole time,
broke down.
really?
It was solid.
Yeah,
it was
wow.
perfect. And we were originally going to extend and stay because we love our neighbours and the kids go to school there. And then we were looking at Beaumaris and then when COVID happened and it was like, you know what, we can stay and build something amazing
On there.
or we can go.
Yeah.
And we stayed. So
Wow.
we're still there.
Okay, but just in a completely different
We
house
still
to
want
the
to
one
move
that you
though,
bought.
but we're still there.
Right. So can you give me some numbers in terms of what we
Yes.
paid for the property and what that original, like if you put your sales
Yes.
hat back on, don't put your new dwelling on there. If that blonde brick house was still on there today, what that would be worth?
Okay, so in 2013, we paid 606 at auction.
Yep.
There were investors bidding back then. I think there was about 4 bidders.
What was your budget, do you reckon? 6 and you spent a little bit more maybe?
No, budget was about 635.
Okay, so you had a bit more to play with,
Yeah. It's really funny back then because I said to my broker, just give us a little bit more. But we could have had a lot more.
Yeah,
but we were so
yeah.
conservative, being our first property.
Of course. And so what would that house be worth if it
Today-
still had the blonde brick home on there?
It'd be probably about 1.2.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So doubling in value in 12
Yeah.
or so years. Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. And there's a huge demand for those properties right now.
Why? For
Just for getting in.
Yeah, okay.
It's just getting in. They're solid properties. They've got good sized blocks. You can renovate them. I mean,
and
if
fairly
you,
easy reno as well.
If you turned that into, say, a 4-bed, 2-bath with a reno, you'd get 1.7 every day of the week.
Yeah, wow. And that wouldn't take you that much. Like it's not going to cost you. Yeah, so there's still some meat in that.
I know someone at the end of our street that's flipping one right now.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And they're making a nice tidy profit.
Yeah. They put a pool in. Yeah. So, and I think we might see a bit more of that coming back. People moving in and doing a reno and moving on.
Well, it's really, really
Yeah.
funny that you say that, obviously, right? And this whole podcast is about property strategy.
Yes.
And that is one, just for the listeners, we are recording this exactly a week
Yep.
after the federal budget was announced. And it may become the new flavor in terms of buying investment properties, but have them as your owner occupier so that you can get that CGT exempt gain. It was probably already a thing.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm sure plenty of people are doing. I did that with my
Yep.
owner occupier. I mean, I didn't go in purposely to try and renovate to make a gain or CGT exempt gain to then go into the next property, but it was natural. But I think that we might see a little bit of that happen.
I think we will. And funny enough, I have clients who I already had as clients before this rolled out, and this is what they're doing.
They were already doing it?
Yes.
Or they've pivoted?
No. This was their strategy.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, which is great. So I'm a huge believer in renovating property, maximizing the value. Now, whether you hold it or sell it, it depends on what you're wanting to achieve.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in holding on to property, and it would be really interesting as to how this plays out.
Yeah, but I think so. Obviously, they're like one of your main philosophies in terms of be it investing for your own home or investing to build a portfolio is buy something that you can add value to. Does it need to be anything drastic like a knockdown rebuild of your blonde brick, or are you happy with cosmetic renovations?
If you can do cosmetic under the roofline, amazing, because that's the cheapest option.
Are these properties here that you were talking about, like in and around where you live, like are they fairly easy to do in terms of not knocking down structural walls and whatnot to do a 3 to 4 bed conversion for the most part?
Yeah. If you've got, it depends on the size of the home, obviously. So you need to have a bigger home to be able to do this. But I looked at one yesterday, which we've actually found for these clients.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, where they can do that. The house is big enough that they can renovate it.
Within the existing roof line.
Yeah, and they're going to live there for a couple of years.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Young professional couple, no kids.
Yep.
Why not? He's in the building industry.
Even better. Even better.
So I find lots of tradies love these homes because they can do it properly. They can save on the cost to do it, and they get the gains.
What's if you kind of flip over to an investor now? What's a kind of entry level property look like at the moment in terms of rough entry level costs?
Oh gosh, well it depends on a few different things, like where you want to buy. Because some people come to me and go, I just only want this area because I feel comfortable here and I grew up here.
Yep.
So therefore we might be limited to, say, an apartment rather than a house. So I normally would have a strategy of going for a house and getting that land component, but it really varies. My cheapest, as was, I had a consultation yesterday with a budget of $350, which that would be the cheapest I've ever worked with. Well, not a lot. It's either a 1-bedroom apartment, or if you go regional, you might get a 2-bedroom villa or a house, depending how far you go.
How regional you go.
Yeah. Okay. But obviously you've got to look at, if you're going for an older property, what maintenance is required. And then if you go really remote, well, who's the tenant you're getting? And what's the growth? Is it going to be stable long term?
So what do you have like a I don't know, a typical investor, like a price point? Is it like, obviously I imagine it's more than the 350, but is there a sweet spot for them?
I think most investors tend to be under $1 million.
Yep.
Probably around the 800 mark would be a pretty
what does that
common
get
price
you?
point. It still gets you a house.
Okay.
Yes. I just negotiated a deal just before I walked in here of a house down on the peninsula.
Okay.
And that was for $685.
$685, and that gets you a freestanding house, decent parcel of land.
Yeah, not a huge parcel of land, 400 square meters.
Oh, still, but it's not a 50 square meter.
Yeah, close to the beach.
Yep.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Tenanted?
No.
What would you get for rent on that? What would we say the value was? $685.
So that one about $580 a week.
Okay, so not too
bad.
bad.
It's not ultra modern and renovated either.
Yeah.
So you could definitely do a reno.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so are these investors, are they coming with that mindset of, I need to go and chase a property that looks like this? Because obviously I imagine that their budget's going to dictate largely where you can buy for them.
It depends, yeah. So I think the first step normally with me, how it works is let's just assess how much you have to spend.
Yep.
And I like to get the broker involved. I think now more than ever, it's really good to get everyone involved. I mean, I normally do work with the broker and the accountant, but I think with all the changes we were talking about before, it's really good to get the strategy right,
Of course.
the structure right.
Yeah.
But I'll be guided by their budget and what they want to achieve.
Do you find that the clients usually have a good idea around what they want to achieve, or they're not really sure?
Sometimes I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends if they're first-time investors. Yeah. I mean, I have had clients who, I've got one client that I recently bought for who's a developer, and he's done multiple developments, and he always knew. He said, Corinne, this is what I want.
Yeah.
Go find it.
Is that easier?
that's
As in,
fine.
like, a very defined, like, these are literally all the dimensions of the property that I need. Go and do that, please. But more difficult.
Sometimes no, because it's harder to find.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but in this case, of course, you know, we had to find a block where we could fit 3
Okay.
townhouses on,
Yeah.
and it obviously has to be profitable. So
Yeah.
gone
Who
are the
does the
days.
feasibility? You or the client?
Well,
Bit of both?
A bit of a team.
Yeah.
So me and others that I work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of work involved in those, obviously, because you need to make sure it can be done.
course,
So I'm
yeah.
working with architects, town planners, builders. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So we found it, and it's great.
Will they execute on that build straight away?
Yeah, there's a tenant in there. You actually could have subdivided this one. So this, funny enough, was in Cheltenham as well.
Okay.
And I purchased that at auction. There were 3 bidders. And the price we paid for that was 1,285, I think, in the end. Yeah. So he's going to keep the tenant for now, get the plans drawn up, knock it and do 3.
And then do 3 and then sell
Yeah.
them. You'd imagine being a builder, or maybe keep some.
Well, he typically holds his.
Oh, really? That's nice.
Yes. Yeah.
That's obviously a really nice
Yeah.
competition. Obviously, like, developers usually sell, take the profit, and then move into the next
he
project.
He
but
might, depending on his circumstances, he may sell some of them, but typically he
Hangs
tends
on
to
them.
hold them. Yeah.
It's a very nice position.
Yeah, so I know, and I was chatting to an agent yesterday, and you know, what's your take on what's going to happen? You know, with the changes coming with tax, and he goes, I can just see more people developing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because you get
Yeah.
all those incentives are still available in that.
Yeah, so we're going to be going for good areas with demand. But the thing is, your families want a nice suburb
Yes.
with a backyard.
Yeah.
So not everyone wants to live in apartments. Townhouses are great if they're side by side and spacious.
Yep.
But they don't stack up anymore to build. So gone are the days where you'll see lots of side by side townhouses.
Townhouses, yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting watch this space to see see what unfolds in that world. And then you are right. And I mean the developers are probably the ones that are going to be licking their lips at the moment.
Yes.
And you mentioned there, and I imagine there would be, especially across Melbourne, plenty of locations where there are pretty decent blocks of land with pretty older homes
Yes.
on there ripe for development. So it'll be very, very interesting. Watch this space and see how it unfolds. But what I love is what you mentioned before, in that it really depends on what the client's goals and objectives are.
Yes.
What budget that they have to work with. Like, classic example was the clients that we were speaking to last night that actually had a pretty clear goal. They were pretty defined in terms of what they wanted end outcome and what they could afford to tolerate along the
Yes.
journey. Obviously, maybe compromised in terms of what opportunities
Yeah.
you could present to them, I suppose. But at least they had a pretty clear idea around the path moving forward and how they could potentially get there. Is there one kind of, I don't know, clear strategy that wins for you in terms of how you would, if you were speaking to someone, first-time investor, how you would instruct them or how you could help guide them to build a portfolio of more than one property?
Yeah, I think I don't really know how to put us to one thing. That's
Yeah,
really hard.
yeah.
But I think getting the first property right is crucial because that can just damage everything flowing on from that. So you need to be able to get that growth in the first property. And if you can do those improvements, so for example, you're buying a home that's a little bit older, that you can do it, even if it's a refresh, it can make all the difference. And then just releasing that equity. Yeah. And then building on from that. But the timing has to be right with the market as well and their savings and borrowing and
Do you see now as a good time in this market here? So when I say this market, I'm kind of talking like, I don't know, Melbourne as a whole, or where are you buying? Are you exclusively buying in Melbourne or other parts of Vic or the country?
I do regional as well. So
Okay.
I do Victoria, but mainly Melbourne and the Peninsula.
Yep.
I have a real issue with buying something I haven't seen.
Yep.
I physically won't do it.
Yep.
I'll have to hop on a plane and have
go
a
and
look at
see
it.
it.
But even then, that's not my area where I work in every day.
Yeah,
You know, so
yeah.
how do I know that that is a good area?
Especially coming from your lens where you could look at a property anywhere here and go, I know exactly what that it would be worth.
I've heard so many horror stories from build and pest inspectors, people just buying from a video call.
Yeah.
And agents and I have a bit of a laugh at it. you know. And so I do vendor advocacy as well. So
Right.
I'm on the side of,
Yeah.
and so I've still got my foot in the door of what's happening, you know,
In
with
that
agents
world.
at the
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
And I can tell you there's a property that I helped sell for one of my clients, one of those bad investments we were talking about earlier. And
Why was it a bad investment first?
well, it was a 2-bedroom apartment that did not get any growth. There's
Right.
no outdoor space.
Did they buy it off the plan?
Nice, older
older
block.
one,
So
okay.
1960s block.
Yeah.
But they've barely made a profit
Okay.
in 10 years. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. And there's a lot of works coming up in the building. There's leaks. It's not great.
Yeah.
Now, chats I had with the owners, they were reluctant to furnish it. We got the tenants out. They did minimal furnishings, a bit of digital furnishing as well. And we were lucky to find a buyer's agent from Sydney that
who was
didn't look at it
Right. I'm just happy to pick it up at face value.
and paid too much.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot going on this space at the moment.
Was
And
it sold off market?
no, it was on market. But that's why I just have a thing where I need to assess it properly.
Physically.
So when you work with me, you get me from end to end. So I'm overseeing everything, I'm doing everything, and I'm on the ground.
And so I had an original question there, and it was, is now a good time to be
sorry,
buying here?
I do this. I go
I
off
forgot the
track
question
so
as well.
much.
Don't worry, we both went off tangent. So is now
Yes.
shaping as a good time in Melbourne and the Peninsula?
Absolutely. Yeah. Peninsula is down about 20%.
Yeah, wow.
It is really down. Peninsula is interesting because with COVID, obviously Melbourne, we were locked down a lot.
Yep.
And people that were, you know, removed from that in regional and peninsula, those markets did quite well.
Mm-hmm.
So particularly 2021.
Was that people being like, bugger this, I'm just going to go out a little bit
Yeah.
and get some space
Well, no
and
one's
freedom
going into
and-
the office here. You may as well enjoy and live for lifestyle. And I think that could be a way of the future too, with people not going in the office as much. But for example, we did buy a property in 2020 on the peninsula, and there was not much stock for sale because it was such a crappy market.
Yeah, right.
And I renovated it. We did an Airbnb and we doubled our money in 18 months. So
Wow.
we sold it. I saw the market had peaked out in 2021.
Yeah, yeah. And what, just
And
exited?
we sold it. Yeah.
Excellent.
So
Did you get
I
in
normally-
pre-COVID or around COVID?
2020.
Like, was
So it was
COVID already
It
happening?
oh, yeah.
Okay.
It was
So you
like
saw there was blood
June,
in the water?
I think. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it was
okay,
rock bottom.
Yeah.
Like,
Couple of
it's
months
just-
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the house, I've got to tell you, and this is where I went for the location play, because obviously location is key. It was a little asbestos shack.
Yep. I'm
A
liking
little
this.
beach house.
Yeah.
And we just made it look really pretty. Did a new kitchen and bathroom and laundry, and I painted it. We had everything done, put nice furniture in.
Were you allowed to go there to do this?
Yeah, we did. In
I think
between
would have
the,
had
you know,
in between lockdowns
yes.
and yeah.
But I remember at the time, Freedom had a deal on for their kitchens, and I did a flat pack, and then I thought, I can't do this. Like, the floor was out. I'm like, how am I going to do this? So anyway, I spoke to one of the guys there, and he said, I'll assemble it for you. And I'm not joking. It only cost me $2,500 for him to assemble my whole kitchen.
Really? Did you buy it from Freedom?
Freedom. Yeah, they designed it. I bought everything online, like all really nice tapware.
And you were
did
going to
all the
install it
appliances.
yourself originally?
I got trades to
Yeah,
do it.
yeah,
I was
okay.
going to assemble the
Yeah.
flat pack because it's
Yeah.
cheaper to do.
Yep.
But it's a really nice looking kitchen. Obviously not stone benches or anything, but it's a big shack.
Yeah, yeah.
And we bought it. We obviously didn't want to overcapitalize. We bought it and made it look like a beach shack. It put a spa in the backyard because it was all
wow.
with tea
Yeah,
trees.
yeah.
We did an outdoor cinema. Like, we made it a real experience, and it cleaned up on Airbnb. Like, it was fully booked.
Was there, because like there would have been a bit
Yeah.
of me going, maybe we keep this.
Yeah.
Was there a part of you that was
Yeah.
like,
We were contemplating keeping it.
yeah,
And then I just thought, you know what, our money is better parked elsewhere.
Yeah, okay.
So that's when we were rebuilding our house where we
yeah,
are
yeah,
now.
okay.
So,
But 18
yeah.
months to have that nice uplift. would
Yeah,
have
we
been very
literally
nice.
doubled our money.
Was
Yeah.
was Airbnb annoying? Like, was it difficult to manage and whatnot?
No, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
But I think at that point in time, I was able to manage it. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it now.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm very tempted. I nearly bought one the other day to Airbnb somewhere else.
Where would that have been?
That was in Kyneton. So that's like a regional town. It's a really beautiful town. Yeah.
So-
So
but-
out near Dalesford.
But similar thing, right, for the short-term letting. But would you have only
Yeah.
got Friday, Saturday, Sunday bookings?
You do get some midweeks as well. So it depends on the
People
areas.
want to go and check out the block site.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. Well, I know people with Airbnbs now on the peninsula, and yeah, they're really booked, but you've got to have the right type of property.
Yeah. And so what would this have been? Like a little cottage farm stay type thing? The one that you were tempted to buy the other day?
Oh, yeah, it was a beautiful Californian bungalow. Like, it was just a real beautiful. It was in the main street. It was in Piper Street of Kyneton. I think it's still for sale now.
If anyone's interested.
I know, yeah. It's just stunning, and it's always booked. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So,
why aren't you going to do it?
I don't know.
You still might?
I still might. This is the thing. It's tempting.
Would you manage it yourself?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
No, I get someone else to do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any clients that have gone down the short-term letting route?
I do. Yeah, I did buy for a client, and this was her first investment actually.
Her first one, she's gone straight into short-term letting.
Yes.
Wow. Where was it?
Because it was on the peninsula. And it was just that price point, you know, it was early sixes that we paid for her late last year. And she settled before Christmas. And she said, Corinne, I don't know which way to go. And I said, well, look, I can tell you what figures I made over that period. That's peak. I said, just test it and try.
Over this period and then stick a tenant if you need to. Yeah. And so she did just pre-Christmas.
She did. Yeah, because it was right near the beach. Yeah. So
and kept it short term.
Yeah, she still has it short term. Right. So it's all about being in the right location if people want to do it. I mean, the good thing about the peninsula is you've got weddings all the time, you've got wineries, you've got beautiful restaurants. It's not far.
Yeah.
People go for weekends away.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of them down there, but, you know, people have been sort of selling them off. So it's just, it's always a good option for people.
Very, very interesting. And
if they want more of a return.
Yeah, and that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And so you'd be doing it for a cash flow play, right?
Yes.
Because otherwise right now cash flow's tight.
Yeah.
Out there. You've seen that across pretty much most investments that you're looking. Do you have is there like a rough yield at the moment?
Most of my investors, we're lucky if we can get 4%.
Yeah, okay.
You know, so it's probably around 3.75. Yeah.
Yeah, which is difficult, right? To manage from a cash flow point of view, especially while the interest rates are where they are and no one has a crystal ball to see when they're going to come down, unfortunately. And that, I suppose, is just going to, overlaying with the tax reform as well, is going to potentially change investor mindset. Your 2 cents on established versus new property. Have you had, I don't know, historical thoughts around either of them, and is that going to change moving forward?
Look, I've never really liked to buy brand new for investing, simply because you're normally competing, especially if it's in an estate, you're normally competing with, when it comes time to sell, there's 100 other properties the same. Yeah. You know. And I was speaking to a property manager recently. She goes, we can't bloody give them away. Like for rent, they're just sitting there because there's so many of them. People just flock to those areas. So that may be a problem we keep seeing come through. But I've definitely bought brand new properties for clients to live in, like a townhouse
different story.
Or a home, but that's quite different.
Yeah.
But moving forward, I think it's always best to find a really good quality asset, forget about the tax benefits. Yeah.
And does that come back down to location for you? You've said location a couple of times.
Yeah, definitely location. I think location has to be number one and then the type of property. But I think it's really important to think about, okay, what type of tenant's going to rent this? You know, because if you're holding it long term, you need good quality tenants. Are they going to pay enough? Is it going to be changing over? What maintenance is required
Try
as
and
well?
find one of your blonde bricks where you only have one hot water system in 13 years or whatever it was.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I think, do you think that was a bit of luck? Or because it must have been because you didn't even have a building inspector. You had your mate coming through for a slab of beer.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know what? I think I've been going through properties for a long time
True.
now.
You'll know this one's going to need a lot of work very, very quickly, or this one won't.
Yeah, and I go through with my clients. That's a thing that I'm really big on as well, as we go together.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm always wearing my high heels. I can feel if the floor's uneven. You know, I've got a nose for mold and I can just know what I'm looking for. So I just think I knew it was good at the time.
And I think that's what, again, like what sets you apart in terms of having so long in the industry, both on both sides of the fence, both camps as a representing the buyer and representing the seller, and then being able to bring that through for your clients. Is there like I hate to say the word horror story, but is there a horror story? Maybe actually you actually probably would have some really good ones from your sales world. Doesn't have to have happened to a client of yours, but do you have any horror stories from your time as a sales agent or anything that you've heard past clients of yours in the buyer's agent space as well?
Look, there is, yeah, sure. There's quite a few.
I can imagine, yeah.
There's one that really stood out to me, and I really, again, sympathising for the buyers. You know, I just remember the amount that a buyer paid for an apartment in Elwood, and we all just looked at each other as sales agents and went, far out, I hope she gets the finance.
When do you reckon this was?
It's auction. Oh, gosh, when would it have been? Maybe 2010. Somewhere around that 2010, 2011. I can't remember the exact year now.
And you were genuinely worried that they wouldn't even got finance for it.
Yeah, because she paid like way over. Like I'm talking 150K over what we thought it was worth. Then, yeah.
Well, you guys thought it was worth as well,
Yes.
and you would have thought it was worth heaps because you're the sales agent.
Yeah, so there's moments like that where like, whoa.
Was it a
you know.
heavy auction? Like, was it heated?
Yeah, there was quite a few bidders. Yeah. But it's just, I don't even think it's probably gone up in value now. Like it's
Well,
still,
especially if they had to pay 150 over at the time.
But there's stuff that I see quite a lot, and one also that stands out is it is a client of mine that I did buy for, but then he said, "Oh, can you have a look at the rest of my portfolio? I've had this property sitting here forever.
Yep.
I think I should offload it." I literally drove past it on the way here.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah. So it is a new development behind an existing house on a main road. A 1-bedroom apartment with a courtyard, but it's under 40 square meters.
Under 40 squares, which is difficult for finance.
Really tricky. Yeah. And just, yes, okay, it was positively geared.
I was going to say the cash
good
flow would have been
rental.
good at
Yeah,
least, and
that was
depreciation
great.
and whatnot.
But in terms of growth, he was lucky to even make a profit
Yeah.
in the years that he'd owned it.
Did he keep it?
No, he sold it.
Right.
So I helped him sell it. Again, we found a buyer from Sydney.
So if you're listening from
sorry,
Sydney.
But no, it was one of those properties that it just didn't do well. It was also next to a massive phone exchange sort of substation.
Okay, just undesirable
it's
things,
just
right?
really, just had a lot of,
That I imagine weren't on the
Yeah.
marketing brochures.
oh no, they don't show those in the walkthroughs, let me tell you.
Yeah, of course. I'll do these ones here and just straight around it.
Yeah.
I'm also fascinated with your time as a sales agent, and you mentioned like the word auction as well.
Yeah.
In terms of like setting the reserve price, how is that usually formed, and is that done like relatively late in the piece before a Saturday auction, or is it literally the night? I'm imagining it's the night before an auction where you would
For the sales side.
for the sales.
that. Yeah. Well, it obviously legislation's changed with this over time as well. But I've heard of reserves changing on the day. And
right.
before the auction, the agents have to have the vendors sign the reserve.
And when's that usually, or when was that? Was that like the day before? Would you used to do that?
Well, typically you should be really discussing price when you sign up the listing. So, but you might not know exactly where it's going to be. So it might be a range, but it's not until further down the campaign. And a good agent will have a lot of communication with the vendor. They'll know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
They'll know how many buyers, where the interest is. And if you work together as a team, there should be no surprises.
Yeah.
So then they should feel comfortable to probably listen to the feedback and position it to where it should be. Now, there's a saying in real estate you've probably heard before that quote them low and watch them go.
I'm from Sydney, so I've seen plenty of that. Don't you worry.
So look, that still does go on.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, if you quote a property higher, no one comes through.
Yeah,
So there's still a little bit of that going on.
Balance.
And then occasionally I do find properties actually quoted where they should be, and I have seen more of that lately. But really, it's probably the Friday before, the morning of, to clarify. It can be last minute. Yeah.
Is it like a really daunting process for the seller, or are they usually like, yeah, this is what I want, like this is what I'm expecting?
Well, they should know. If they're working with a good agent, there should be no surprises.
Right,
like
okay,
I think they should be well equipped before they go to market. This is what I want. This is roughly where it's worth. And you need to have sometimes a plan B. If you don't get your price, are you going to rent it out? What are you going to do?
Yeah. And better to have that done beforehand, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And so these are the insights that you can give to your clients. So, right, you know, I know what's happening behind closed doors because I'm doing it right now, part of my vendor advocacy. And I have done that for several years as well. So I imagine you're going into an auction or a negotiation, obviously very well versed and are you giving the clients feedback in terms of this is how I'm going to approach that?
Yes. Are we talking about the buying
Yeah,
side?
now it's about
Absolutely. Yeah. So I have several meetings with my clients leading up to an auction. So they're fully equipped. Sometimes they don't want to come. They don't have to.
Yeah.
Often I'll have them on the phone.
Just too nervous?
Yeah, I think maybe they just want to remove themselves.
from it.
And they say it was really great being removed because they didn't feel, that they were a part of it. And then some of them really want to be there.
Of course,
but we'll be across everything. I'm really big on communication. And I always say, look, we're all working this together. Like this is the team, and we're going to get the best outcome. And I'm going to navigate how we do that. I'm going to give it my all. Like obviously I can't control what other people bid to, but I will do the strategy leading up, whether we buy it before or whether we take it to. Sometimes it's better to take it to auction.
Sometimes, yeah. And is there, just in terms of that strategy at auction floor, you giving the client the insight in terms of this is what I don't want you to share your secret recipe, but do you letting the client know like this is how I'm going to play it out?
Yes.
Okay. So they know they're going into the auction going, okay, I'm expecting Corinne to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah.
Super. I love auctions.
Yeah, so do I.
I remember when during COVID, like you could just go and watch them. Like when it was online auctions became a thing for that period, I'd just go and just watch auctions for the fun of it going, this is just fascinating.
They're good fun. I love them.
Except for when you're buying, of course, because then there's the nerves and whatnot that are involved.
Well, I still find that I stand up the front with the agents. Like I can't help it. I'm used to standing here because I can see everyone.
Yeah, that too.
So
gauge the competition, see where it's at.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So I think the listeners have got a lot out of this. I definitely have. And I've even taken some kind of strategies, not only in terms of how to build a portfolio, but what to do in terms of the nitty gritty on the upcoming property purchase, because there's a lot to be said there in terms of the location, doing most of the heavy lifting, making sure that we do not compromise on that. And tax is an outcome and not the reason why we should be investing in on a property there. And we've heard a couple of horror stories as well. Is there, because you've dropped heaps of golden nuggets, but is there one really big piece of advice you could give a buyer? Let's say, for example, they're a first-time buyer looking to buy their own home or looking to get in as an investment. Is there only one little piece of advice you can give them?
I think be prepared. Often people come to me and they go, I was feeling really pressured by the agent. We just bought it. And then they feel like they've paid too much.
Yeah.
So I think really being prepared, speak to professionals, just map it out and do your research and go, what is the property actually worth? And have a look and see what's going on in that suburb.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information available online. Check with council. I do that for everything that I'm looking at with my clients. It's really important just to know what you're buying. Don't rush in.
Or otherwise, speak to Corinne.
Or speak to me,
So where can people find out more about you if they want to get in touch and make some inquiry?
Yeah, so my website is Turley Property, but you can look me up on Instagram, Corinne Turley.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming into the studio today. Looking forward to our next catch up and our next strategy session with one of your upcoming clients.
Thanks, Joey.
Thanks again.